Rejoice, everyone. We're back with another Sekhie Reacts to Fate. This week, Chiron.
Isn't he the satyr from that animated movie?
I thought he was the teacher from Percy Jackson.
You mean Mr... I forget it. Mr. something.
It's been a long time since I've read the Percy Jackson books, and I did not watch the new series when it came out.
I did watch the new series when it came out.
I need to watch it, because they're doing season 2, and they've already announced season 3, but...
Yeah.
Which, look, they counted to 3. I have to give them credit for that compared to the previous ones.
I really liked the books when I was a kid. I really did. I just... You know how, like, some people are like, oh my god, Harry Potter adults never grew out of being Harry Potter kids?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've done, like, as, like, I'm still kind of, like, a Harry Potter kid at heart, but, like, I have grown out of being a Percy Jackson kid a little bit. And I think I kind of grew out of it just because having read Kane, I didn't think Kane Chronicles was very well done. I generally dislike the writing quality of Kane Chronicles. I think it was a little all over the place. And then Heroes of Olympus I found really, really hard to read narratively. Because it's one of those books where, like, every chapter is a different perspective, you know?
Yeah, you
so
really don't jive with that style.
I don't love every single chapter flipping me around to a different character in a different place and then, like, picking up the... Yeah, I'm just not a fan of that particular writing style, so I really struggled with Heroes of Olympus. And the thing is, like, I know the plot of Heroes... Like, I read the books, so, like, I know what happens, but, like, I still think the original 5 books were the best he ever wrote, to be honest. And then I own the Apollo books, but I haven't read them yet, because I got them on sale recently, and I don't have the Norse books that he wrote. I do want to read those, though.
I stopped right before the end of Heroes of Olympus. Not because I disliked the books that much, I just felt like... I just like Heroes of Olympus wasn't as memorable as the Percy Jackson was. I feel like a lot of it, some of it felt like retreading, and some of it felt like it just felt like we really didn't need to follow these characters for as long as we were.
I almost think he would have been better off dropping the connection to, like, the original Percy Jackson series out of peripherals and just writing a different new series about New Rome. And the Roman camp and like the Roman aspects of the gods and stuff.
I like some of the world building around that, but at the same time,
but you could have done that without mixing the two camps.
I feel like
it
would have been more interesting in that series. And welcome to our off the shelf for Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus, by the way. I feel like it would have been more interesting in that series if they had, because they outline events that supposedly ran parallel to the original Percy Jackson series.
Mm-hmm.
What if we gotten those and we had like 1 to 3 books of crossover?
Yeah.
Like after that was done.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's... Because I remember when he finished writing Kane Chronicles, and when he moved on to the Norse one, which I forget the name of, I remember kind of thinking when he was doing those that I was like, man, he's really discovered like something that works for him, right? He just picks a mythology, makes a camp, writes a story following a young hero, right? And for the... You know, in a very simplistic way, that's essentially what he's done for every single series. Heroes of Olympus kind of broke out of that because he was trying to, like, cross over with Percy Jackson and then start new stuff. And I think the world building's fantastic. I love the Roman camp. I love all the additions there. But the series itself is hard to read, I think, when you compare it back to the original series. I think the original series is much... not easier, not simpler... narratively cohesive.
Yeah.
Whereas
I feel like a lot of the later works, outside of oddly Kane Chronicles, even though Kane Chronicles has its own issues, don't like, because I've never read Magnus Chase or the
Norse one, Magnus Chase.
But I feel like right off that Magnus Chase being the brother of Annabeth is kind of
isn't
or is it her
cousin? I think it's cousin.
One of the two.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but like the fact that those series were.
There's a crossover, like, young readers comic book trilogy where it's just Annabeth and him, like doing stuff like small little chapter books.
I feel like it almost feels like it's getting very like this is a spinoff of this thing, which is a spinoff of this thing. Whereas even though I think Kane Chronicles has I think the first book's only okay and the later books just feel awful. But I feel like Kane Chronicles is the right idea, the wrong execution, whereas I feel like the other ones are kind of the wrong idea and the wrong execution.
Yeah. I think, like I said, I love the world. I just don't, and especially with as big as the main cast is in Heroes of Olympus, because you have, you know, Annabeth, Percy, you know, Grover, but then Luke and Hazel and, oh my god, I've forgotten the last one's name. But you've got like a
Jason?
No, oh, Luke, Hazel, and Jason. Is Luke? I might be wrong with the name Luke. It's Jason, Hazel, and there's a third person.
Isn't Luke the villain of the first series?
Yes.
Leo.
Leo, that's it. An L name. I was close.
You really take that L.
But you've already got like 6 main characters right
it's a huge
there.
cast.
And they add like a couple more that you get perspectives from as the series goes on. So you're working like, I think, look at Aragon, right? Aragon has in the second book, right, 2 perspectives, and in the third book it has 3 perspectives that you're following. And the second book, 2 perspectives works because you're following 2 stories running parallel to one another. And there is some level of like, you know, Roran hears about something and then you flip to the chapter where Aragon is doing the thing that Roran hears about, you know? Whereas in Heroes of Olympus, Leo, Hazel, and Jason, let's say, are together in the same place, and the first chapter's from Jason's perspective, and then you end in the middle of the action, and then Leo takes over, and then you end, and then Hazel takes over. But like randomly in the middle of one of those, you'll flip to Percy, who's in a totally different location altogether.
What you're saying is the way that series was written, it probably had benefited from just being Jason and Percy, the 2 main characters.
Yeah, or just less. 6 plus was too many. I think 3 is really the maximum, in my opinion, that most people can do well. I mean, Paolini did 3 in Brazinger? Yeah, Brazinger. And it wasn't perfect, but at least with Brazinger you're following like such a structured narrative that it worked okay.
Everyone is doing, in the Aragon books, everyone is doing specifically their own thing.
Yeah,
like,
you were following 3 people in different places for the vast majority of the split POV.
You like, this is just an example. This is not something I think that happens in the book. Say you like, it's not like you see a plot beat where the group gets kidnapped by Cyclopses. You follow one guy, and then the next chapter you follow another guy going through that exact same plot. Where it probably would have felt better if you followed that one guy through at least that particular plot beat instead of swapping in the middle of a plot beat.
Yeah.
Drink every time I say plot beat.
Either way, TLDR, I really like Rick Riordan, but I do think that the original Percy Jackson series was the best series he's ever written.
I will say, I think these series are as a whole good.
Oh yeah, no, they're good.
Like, there's a reason Percy Jackson has been so readily accepted into being like.
There's a reason why it's still popular.
It's popular, and like I've seen schools put it in like curriculum because of just how it's a good ease into Greek mythology for a lot of young readers.
That depends on when the school is covering Greek mythology.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's not the sort of book you would incorporate at like a high school level.
No,
if you're talking
I've
about
seen
Greek
this in like
mythology.
an elementary school level.
Yeah. But yeah, TLDR, Rick Riordan's great. His original series was the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Chiron.
Yeah, that was a bit of a 6-minute tangent or so.
It's fine. So Chiron is a centaur, not a satyr. I made the joke earlier
because
because
as long as one of the off the shelves we've recorded recently.
Well, I made the satyr joke because, you know, Disney's Hercules has, for some reason, him as a satyr. Like a little fat... Well, no, it's a joke. So, in Disney's Hercules, the animated movie, they don't go to Chiron, right? Like, Hercules doesn't end up being trained by Chiron. He's trained by Philoctetes, who's like a fat little satyr. But, like... in spirit, we all know that was supposed to be Chiron.
When's the part where he accidentally like scrapes him with a poisoned arrow?
Yeah, so that's during the 3rd labor of Hercules, the 3rd or the 4th labor of Hercules. We'll get there. So, despite being a centaur, Chiron is pretty fucking different than most other centaurs in Greek mythology. When you see him depicted, he's often actually depicted with the entire body of a human, and then just a horse's behind and legs sticking out of his back. So in the case of most centaurs, traditionally, it's like the body of a human up to like the waist, and then the rest of the body is horse. He's got like human front legs too, right, in most depictions, at least ancient depictions, and that's because he was not created the same way that other centaurs were created. So Chiron is actually the son of Kronos and Philyra, whereas most other centaurs were created from I think like a nymph and a cloud or something like that like Zeus creates their race. There's also another one that says they're the descendants of the... So technically, the origin story goes is they're the descendants of one of the kings of the Lapiths mixed with this, like, cloud nymph thing.
This sounds like the everything evolves into crabs theory.
Yeah, well, either way, he is not the same as them. He is better than them. Centaurs are well known for being, like, huge drinkers, really violent when drunk, like, super uncultured, very wild, and very horny.
He's not like other centaurs.
Yeah, he's not like this. His parentage isn't the same as the rest of them. But he does reside with other centaurs. So it's not like he's living in a completely different area, like doing a completely different thing. He's still doing, some centaur shit. Otherwise, Hercules wouldn't be able to kill him. I know that's sad. Poor guy, killed by Hercules.
Sad is that joke that I absolutely cannot say on video recording. I'll tell you off.
Oh, you just know it's going to be good when that's the introduction to the joke. So Chiron's mother was absolutely disgusted by him when he was born, and she refused to raise him. So she abandoned her child, left him, was just like, no, I'm not dealing with that. He was found by Apollo, and the god Apollo, who took him sort of as like a ward, and basically he trained him in music and archery, medicine, and prophecy. And Artemis helped in this way, also helping his archery and hunting training. As a result, Chiron grew up with a sort of representation of his character as described across myths as being very kind and intelligent and peaceful, which is juxtaposed against most other centaurs and largely attributed to the fact that he grew up with Apollo and Artemis as opposed to with centaurs. So he is not like other centaurs. So obviously, with his training, he was pretty renowned as a healer, an oracle, and he was also considered to be an astrologer. And among the centaurs, he was actually revered as both a teacher and a tutor. So he was very knowledgeable about things, and he communicated them to other people rather than just keeping his knowledge to himself. You good?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You just
I don't have good back support in this chair. You probably know that.
I used that chair for a decade and a half.
I know, and you know as well as anyone this doesn't have good back support. I notice you're not sitting in a chair like this.
No.
And I'm sure, and I know there's a reason for that. You know better.
Yeah. Now, Chiron was a really renowned mentor, and that's because he had a lot of very famous students. Some of these students are in Fate. Some of them we have discussed before in previous videos, like Achilles, or Actaeon, or Jason, and Patroclus. We haven't discussed all of his students because there's also Aristeus and Asclepius and Metis and several others. But Metis is the son of Medea and possibly Jason, but maybe not Jason. Mythological sources differ.
The timeline seems it could be a little funky there.
Yeah. And we haven't covered Asclepius yet, even though I know Asclepius is in Fate. So
he just helped me win a fight I couldn't win the other day.
Which technically means that the only person we haven't covered, even somewhat, is Aristeus, of his most famous students. So, Fate, get on it.
Look, Fate can only do so much Greek. We have a lot of Greek already.
We could always have more. The Greeks were very prolific. in more ways than one.
Okay.
Especially Zeus.
Look, that's a topic for another time.
So Achilles, obviously we talked about him before, the son of Peleus and
Is that
Thetis.
how we extend out that video? Do we just have you go over all of Zeus's lovers?
I can't cover all the moons of Jupiter in one video. What if we just do the big four? What if we just do the big four? Compromise? You know?
Fine.
So, you know, Achilles, we've already talked about him, the son of Peleus and Thetis. Fun fact, Chiron's the one who actually helped Peleus figure out how to marry Thetis, so he caused the birth of Achilles and then trained Achilles. A twofer! So, when Achilles was old enough to be trained, Peleus did bring him to Chiron. Chiron fed him the insides of lions and boars and bears and taught him. And according to some, he gave him the name Achilles because his original name was Ligyron. For Aristeus, Aristeus was the son of Apollo, and he brought him to be reared by Chiron, kind of like, look, my adoptive son Chiron, here's my, son. Please teach him, because I'm not going to. Aristeus is actually one of my favorite people who was trained by Chiron, because Aristeus went on to become a minor god of, like, beekeeping and cheese making and, like, domestic home crafts, which I think is just really cool.
Look, I was sold on cheese making.
Yeah. So then there was Actaeon. Do you remember where we learned about Actaeon?
No.
Artemis. Actaeon was the, she turned him into a stag.
That's right.
And then his own hunting dogs tore him apart. Yeah. The hunting dogs actually sought out Chiron when trying to find their master, and Chiron actually made them an image of Actaeon so that they didn't feel so guilty about eating their master and not knowing who he was.
Aww.
Oh, I know, right? That's so sweet. Then there's Asclepius. So Asclepius is the... Yeah, he's another god, minor god. Usually reigns over medicine. Good doctors, medicine, medical stuff. Maybe if I find it, I'll insert the picture of the sanctuary of Asclepius that I visited 2 years ago.
You can always hold that little nugget when we eventually do Asclepius.
Oh, that's true. I could. Either way. Asclepius's mother, Coronis, was murdered by Artemis because it was found that... because Apollo found out that she was cheating on him, so he sicked his sister on her, which is great.
That's wholesome in a family way.
Yeah, I guess. So, before her body was burned in a pyre, they literally cut the baby out of her and brought it to Chiron, who taught him the arts of healing. Chiron's daughter actually prophesied his death and destiny, and because of that, Zeus turned her into a horse. Asclepius later, died. We'll talk about him later, because I know we're doing him at some point. Then there's Jason, which I feel like we've dealt with Jason. So much with Jason.
Boy failure.
Medes, right? Medea's son, who eventually became the first king of the Medes. And then Patroclus. Patroclus is counted as one of his students, not because he learned directly from him, but because Achilles shared all of Chiron's teachings to him with Patroclus. So, student by proxy.
I can understand that pretty well.
Yeah. Like, it's obviously, it's the same teachings,
Yeah.
So, Chiron is given a really interesting place in sort of like nobility and sacrifice in Greek mythology, because he does sort of sacrifice himself for Prometheus. Chiron is immortal. He's the son of Kronos, so he cannot die normally. So Heracles bargained with Zeus to make a trade: the life of Prometheus for Chiron's immortality. Prometheus, who's, chained to a rock where an eagle pecked out his liver every single day, which grew back every single night for bringing fire to humans. And as a result of this left Chiron vulnerable to being hit with a poisoned arrow, right, covered in the blood of the Hydra, during Heracles' visit to Thessaly when he was defeating the Erymanthian boar as his fourth task. So what happened was Heracles, when he was at supper with the king, asked for some wine. The king, who usually ate his food raw and without wine, was like, what the fuck? But he'd been given like some godly wine by Dionysus. And so he pulled out the vessel of wine and forced it open, and then the vapors of the sacred wine wafted out and sent the centaurs of Nessus into like an intoxicated frenzy. And so Heracles was forced to like start shooting them to drive them back from the neighborhood of Malea, and in that melee, Chiron was shot. And then Pholus himself, the king, did portray Chiron as like a civilized centaur when remembering him. So Chiron could not heal himself, obviously, even though he had like some healing arts. But Zeus placed him in the stars as a constellation, which is pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's Chiron.
Yeah.
That's it.
I don't need to have you quiz on the class. You've seen the anime.
Archer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Archer of...
Yep. I need you to know I worked so hard to blank him out of my mind having watched Apocrypha, and I mostly succeeded. So, I'm very happy about that. Okay. Interesting. So they've gone with making him completely human for the first two arts.
Yes.
And then a proper centaur for the third art.
This is something similar to how Saber hides her sword.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, you have a centaur body. Who the fuck do you think this is?
Yeah.
In the Grail War.
I really like the design, though.
I figured you would, the long hair.
Oh, yeah, long blonde hair. That's kind of my thing.
Yeah. I can pretty well guess when you're going to like a certain design sometimes. Alright. So,
he has a horse's tail.
yeah, when he's doing...
I couldn't tell that. It kind of looked like an extension of his regular hair from the other angle. Interesting.
So this is Chiron Archer from Fate Apocrypha and later FGO.
Mm-hmm.
Chiron is a remarkably straightforward adaptation of the character, but I'll throw out just a few notes here for fun.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said, Chiron disguises the horse body very often, especially in Holy Grail Wars. But the
understandable, because it kind of gives him, really gives him away. There's not another really famous centaur with his temperament anywhere. Motherfucker. Open.
But for some reason, he can't get rid of that tail. And here's another fun factoid. He really shouldn't be summonable. He's too close to a god because he's descended from
he's literally Zeus's half-brother because he's Kronos' son.
And immortality alone
literally immortal.
He's strong enough, and immortality alone with that should exclude him.
But he did give up his immortality for Prometheus.
There you go.
Oh,
He gets in on a technicality.
Safe in the final round.
Yup. Congratulations to the horseman.
I see his little personal information. That's fun. Alright. Aww! It's little Achilles! And I'm assuming Jason and Asclepius. That's probably meant to be the three of them.
Probably.
Yeah. Since they're the three that are in Fate. Jason, Herc. That's one of the Dioscuri.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna start getting into... I do, just take a look at some of the stuff that's not gonna be included in the FGO page,
Mm-hmm.
It's Fate Apocrypha stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Oh, I have a lot of relationships. Not that many. Not that many, and I think the relationships I have are going to make a lot of sense. Oh, you know what? Fun little anecdote, because I saw Zhuge Liang down there at the bottom. According to one later writer, Ptolemy of something, Chiron is the one who taught something to do with Iskandar. I had it in my notes. Hold on.
It'd be very hard for him to teach his Kandar, but I don't know.
Well, not, you know. Because it was like one specific narration. No, sorry, not Iskandar. According to Ptolemy Hephaestion, it was Ptolemy. Mm-hmm. I knew that. Chiron taught Dionysus, and Dionysus was the younger member of an Eromenos contract between the two of them. Have I told you enough times that you remember what an Eromenos contract is in ancient Greece?
No.
Okay, so an Eromenos contract is enacted between two men, an older and a younger. It's a homosexual relationship between a teacher and a student, in which the younger man is learning from the older man, but is also taking it up the... until he's like graduated, learned all that he needs to learn, and then you kind of age out of this relationship and go on to form your own relationships. So supposedly, one writer claims that Dionysus was in one of these contracts with Chiron.
I mean, Dionysus would be the god to do it.
What? Yeah. I just thought that was a funny little anecdote. Anyways, Achilles, it seems we are allies this time. I am relieved. If you are bored, why not join my class? Oh, he fled. I once fought you barehanded. The outcome was uncertain, but what do you think? How about we try it once here? I don't know. I fully believe that Achilles can just put any of his students into the ground.
You mean Chiron?
Sorry, yeah, Chiron can put any of his students into the ground.
He lost to Achilles in Apocrypha.
I refuse to believe that that is anything but him letting Achilles win. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't feel right for him not to be able to just put his students into the ground.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Though you have become a berserker and your mind is clouded by madness, your intellect remains intact. That is quite the feat, Heracles, so you needn't be so uncomfortable around me. Okay, yeah, that's fair, because Herc does have... Like, he doesn't really speak a whole lot, but, like, he is demonstrably, like, intelligent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jason mentioned a stable. Well, yes, it really was a stable. Hardships like that help to shape a hero, but either way, I must triple his assignment load. It'll be fine. Jason shows his true colors when he realizes that he is placed in a situation beyond his own limits. Okay. Oh, did everyone come too? My assistance may have been small, but even so, it makes me quite proud and happy that all of you have become heroes. That said, there are still some parts that lack teaching. Come on, let us learn enthusiastically. Let's work hard. Are you still thinking about the time my arrow hit yours? Anyone can do it if they calculate speed and positioning. Knowing you, Atalanta, I'm sure you could pick it up in 2 or 3 tries. You can do it already? Impressive. I never imagined the famous anti-hero could live here so peacefully. I do not know whether or not this is Asterios' true nature, but of this much I can be sure. He responded to your summons because he sensed and was drawn to your goodness. Oh, it seems I fought with you together in the past. On that occasion there wasn't much of a temporal extension, but it's different here. Now let us study that course slowly and carefully. Okay. I see. That style of teaching is the power of the individual that became the vessel. Wonderful. If you don't mind, could you teach me as well? That's cute. That's cute. Ah, yes, my... I think I know everyone in this image.
No, you're missing the bottom left.
Oh, I am. He looked like Salieri in my head, so I was like, it's Salieri. It's not. It's not. I love that, like, Chiron and Vladdy are hanging out over to the side, because, like, I feel like I don't necessarily associate the two of them together in my mind. Like, they feel like very different characters, you know?
I mean, they are very, very different people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cute. Wait, hang on. Is it the lack of Eddie marks on Chiron? Just Achilles being like, beat to shit. Yeah. That's what I'm expecting. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We've hit. Okay.
So, we've seen the second half of Apocrypha, so I probably don't need to explain in too much detail how Chiron fights. Even if I hadn't when I say Archer Chiron, you can probably guess how he fights. For once, you can actually assume the archer shoots arrows.
An archer who arches?
Yes.
Oh my god.
He's a horseman with a bow. A great shot, and is fast enough to keep up with Achilles in combat settings.
Mm-hmm.
He can also draw on most of the knowledge of his students, that he's actually granted the knowledge of his students, since he probably taught them a great deal of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's some skills he cannot replicate, but otherwise it grants him nearly any non-unique servant ability.
Yeah.
And then he can then turn around and potentially teach those same skills to other servants.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Magic resistance, mind's eye, clairvoyance, divinity, wisdom of divine. I mean, everything makes sense here. It's all pretty simple, in my opinion. Now, what I do want to call out is, and I called this out in Apocrypha, but his noble phantasm is called Antares Snipe, right? Antares is the name of the brightest star in the Scorpius Centauri constellation.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually named after the brightest star in his constellation.
Yeah.
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 It's also... Oh, okay. I can't. You're not there yet in solo leveling. Never mind. Never mind.
The way it works is Chiron is capable of sniping a target using the arrow from his constellation in the sky. It's not a particularly strong attack compared to what's out there among servants, but it is very useful as a strategic trump card. As, you know, just an arrow that you can't really anticipate,
Mm-hmm.
hitting pretty much where he wants it to hit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Do you have something to say about his abilities?
The rest of them, not really. I have one more thing I can throw out here because it's not really going to... I didn't even open up its own separate page.
Mm-hmm.
There is a Lost Belt version of Chiron. There's no new artwork or design for it. It's the same as our usual Chiron design, and is mostly the same as our usual Chiron, but is actually a living being and not a heroic spirit. Because, you know, immortality.
Mm-hmm.
He is allied with the machine gods and is a major antagonist in the Atlantic Lost Belt. I won't spoil everything that happens with him, but I will give away that at one point prior to the events portrayed in FGO, he manages to kill the servant version of himself who was summoned, and would, in doing so, learn how to use his own noble phantasm, not unlike Shiro was able to do with Archer and Unlimited Blade Works.
Interesting. So, same designer for Shakespeare, Jack the Ripper, Astolfo, Amakusa Shiro Tokisada, Siegfried, Kriemhild, Mordred, Spartacus, Semiramis, Atalanta Alter, Avikabron, Achilles, Chiron, Sieg, and Metatron Jean.
So,
I think I'm missing
one
two
of the
there.
Apocrypha servants.
Yeah, and I'm only missing two myself, technically.
Yeah.
Metatron Jean, I don't think I've seen that.
That's a new version.
And Avikabron.
Yep.
That's it. That's all I'm missing left from that list.
Yep.
I've almost caught them all. Okay. So how old is he?
He came out around the start of the Lost Belt arc, so about 3 4 years in.
Jesus, that was loud. Okay. Okay, martial arts. There's his bow. Yeah, I was gonna say, there's not a ton of variants.
He's very clearly not a modern servant.
Yeah, there's not a ton of variants in the moves that he has. Yeah,
but it's also not caster balls.
Yeah,
old
no.
archers.
Yeah, no. It's not caster balls. It's not old archers. It looks fine. It's just when you think about like Summer Balbanshi or Summer Melusine or something, and they've got like a lot more to them. But then they're also brand new servants, you know.
Like, for what it is, this is impressive for the time.
Yeah. It looks good still. It does mean we really don't need to...
Wait, but he might do a flip.
No, he's not going to do a flip. Unless he does a flip, in which case you have to tell me.
I don't know.
Okay. I think we're ready for an NP.
I wonder if he had different animations as a horse.
I can go back a little after we see the NP. Oh, look, Leonidas and Leonidas. That's a hell of a team.
Yeah, just a bit.
Yeah, that's a funky little team. I'm still waiting for his NP.
Because you're in the skill animations.
What?
There it is.
Oh. Okay. Oh, there you go. I think it just does it without his without his horse form here. Let's see. I don't think. See, that's the same. The same bow
different.
shot. That's different. But like the bow shot was exactly the same.
Like him firing the bows the
Yeah.
same, but the actual like arrows were different. Like that was not in the original.
Yeah.
That one is the same arrows.
Yeah.
That's different.
Well, he's just stomping on him.
Yeah. Well, it's different in the previous one he was doing martial
Yeah.
arts.
Yeah. That one. Yeah, okay. Alright.
Yeah, there's some slight
Not
variance.
super different, though. Pretty much the same thing. Okay. Oh, yeah, I have all three now. Of course, he's the... I can just picture him yelling at the ref, you know? You know what I mean? Like, come on, ref! Did you even see that foul? You know the kind of person? I can picture
Yeah,
it.
you take the strategic penalty.
Yeah, I could picture it. Okay, so he does have some fun extra art.
Come on, we all know what you're thinking. You just have to say it.
Gay!
Okay.
Okay, the artist has to know what they're doing. Look at it. Look at it. I'm not wrong. You see it too. I appreciate it. But it's definitely
Hey, look, feet pick.
feet. I feel like his feet would be pretty easy to tell apart. Okay. Okay, it looks like we're only going to have like 1 or 2 CEs that are transferred over with other people we've seen. Okay, so purpose of learning and teaching. There are times when one learns something while teaching. There are times when one learns something while being taught. One may well learn something new by teaching, and that discovery is what it is to be human. Never rely on knowledge alone. You mustn't just memorize the necessities. There is no such thing as useless knowledge. All knowledge is treasure, and repetition is the mother of all learning. Now then, let's begin our lesson. Education for you and me, for all of us. Okay, definitely features young Achilles and Chiron. I guess neither of them really fits like Jason, because he's blonde. And I don't really know what Asclepius looks like. But like, I like to imagine it's like the 3 of them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This one we've seen before. Because that's Martha.
Yeah.
He's just... There he is. He's in the back with Achilles.
Blurry and unfocused.
Yeah. So we'll skip over that, because I'm sure I read it when we did Martha. Okay. Primary grade conferment. Unfortunately, it's not a graduation diploma, but instead a certificate acknowledging the completion of level 1 training. Rest assured you're guaranteed to become a great hero by the time you graduate. And even if the certificate is only for level 1, it's still good to have on a resume, so make sure to mention this accomplishment. All heroes start at level 1. Now let's work hard to complete level 2. Professor Chiron's lessons have only just begun. Nice. Mentor and I. That's gay. That's gay. Come, let's begin our lesson. Learning is man's great gift. There exists a special boarding school somewhere in the world, and learning the collected wisdom of its headmaster, who is touted as a sage, is as difficult as climbing a snow-capped mountain. And yet there are those who knowingly step up to this challenge. The leader of this charge is the head prefect. Gay. Blue Sky Academy. Oh, that's a bunch of kids. Because that's Jackie.
Yep.
I think this is Bunyan.
And I'll say it's nursery rhyme.
Yeah. But Bunyan, too.
Yeah.
It's the blonde Bob. They're hiking.
Yep.
It's kind of cute. When you learn the name of a flower you didn't know, you enrich your perspective with a new hue. When you reach your destination in the clouds, you expand your world. The many smiles that generates will surely warm our hearts. Oh. Oh, there's... Oh, look at their cute little hiking outfits. It's adorable. Oh my goodness, look at them. They're so cute. They're so cute. Okay, and Professor's lunchtime. Oh. I don't think I know the... Well, I know that,
Paracelsus.
but I don't think I know who that is.
You might, if you want to scroll down without looking, I can tell you.
I don't... Oh, I do. Yamanami Keisuke.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, so I do know them.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I covered this earlier when we did Yamanami Keisuke. No, I didn't because there were spoilers for
True.
Chiron. Yeah. At the time. Okay.
山並さん、今日も手作りのお弁当ですか。私も超高圧縮カフェインの摂取などで済ませず、あなたを見習わなければいけませんね。
あり合わせを詰め込んだだけで大したものではありませんよ。よろしければ少しつまみますか。味の方はあまり保証できませんが。
ところでお二方、私の教室にてまた悪い方向に勢いづき始めた生徒をハードに鍛え直すパンクラチオン講座があるのですが、お二人とも軽い運動的な感じでいかがでしょうか。
遠慮しておきます。
Brought lunch from home again, Yamanami. I should follow your example instead of just chugging highly caffeinated drinks and calling it a day. I just threw together some leftovers, so it's nothing fancy. You're more than welcome to try a bite. I can't guarantee it will satisfy your palate, though. Under the beautiful warmth of the sun, notable brilliant minds are having a peaceful lunch at a certain cafeteria of a boarding school. By the way, I recently started a Pancration course geared towards setting some of the more unruly students straight. Would you two be interested in attending for some light exercise? Damn, look at those bentos.
Good looking Mentos.
Yeah, there's some good-looking bentos. That's some good-looking food. Also, Chiron with glasses. That's what I'm taking out of this. Chiron with glasses.
So.
I like it.
Yeah, it's a really... Chiron's like one of those... You can't
I don't think you can dislike it because it's like it's solid. It's basically not basically. It's completely faithful to the mythology for the most part. I mean, literally the only thing.
About to go off.
My mother says I am Irish.
Literally the only minuscule difference is that for 2 ascensions he's got a completely human body.
Yeah.
But like even in Greek mythology he's shown as human from the front.
And that makes perfect sense in Fate lore.
Exactly. Because you've got magic.
Yeah.
Little winky magic hides the horse bit.
I'm pretty sure that's how, excluding the wheelchair, it's how Percy Jackson looks as well. It just makes him look like a human because he has a wheelchair.
Yeah, because the wheelchair, he basically just folds his horse half into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's just a solid, well done.
Yeah.
10 out of 10. He was great in Apocrypha.
Yeah. Love the fist fight.
Yeah, fantastic. Got a hint for the next servant?
No, I just got a lot of bullshit.
Okay, then maybe that's a fate thing. I don't know, man. Oh! Oh. Motherfucker.